The Panthers are an asshole team. They play with a bit of an edge. They're accused of being dirty all the time. I say, why don't you lean into it, and why don't you go acquire Brad Marchand?
Let's get to a segment we've been wanting to do, really, since Mikko Rantanen got traded. We learned on Friday that players you thought might not get moved just might get moved, even if they're going from a contender to another contender. Crazy things can happen. So, riding the momentum off of that, we are going to go through playoff teams, contenders, teams that are 520 and above, and give them like dream acquisitions. They're not all going to be the level of Mikko Rantanen, but they might have similar shock value to, wait, that could maybe happen? Probably not. Just like Mikko Rantanen probably wasn't going to get traded, but he did. So the rule is team must be 520 or higher, and acquisition must be 30% plausible in a post-Rantanen world.
Yeah.
30% plausible before Rantanen got moved is a lot different than 30% plausible than after Rantanen got moved. So at least speaking for some of mine, we haven't seen each other's. I'm going to be throwing out some ones that you're going to say, that sounds like, oh, yeah, you know what, Mikko Rantanen, 30% of that, okay, maybe.
Yeah, I would imagine that my list is going to be like way more boring than yours.
I don't know. I'm going to like change, going to get off topic. I'm going to get kind of boring.
I do just want to say, it's like, given your stipulations, the Sabres are not a part of this conversation.
But yes, they are.
Yeah, because
yes, they are. They're participating in a lot of these.
I guess they are. So there's a lot to sell. But it is funny to me that like recently, like we talked about the Sabres being in on Pettersson, and they are the worst team in the Eastern Conference. Mm-hmm. Like them acquiring things.
Yeah, but Pettersson.
I get it. I'm just saying it's funny that doesn't become a part of this conversation, all things considered. But I guess it can going the other way.
I'm excited. I have a list of like realistic trades that I would like to see, and I have like the pieces.
Say those quickly.
No, I'll get to them if they come up, and maybe I'll save them for the end. But the list of like players, the dream scenario, slightly unrealistic, is going to be fun.
Okay, we'll start. And if, by the way, this is where it gets really dicey. If you say something that one of the other two folks feels might not be 30% realistic,
mm-hmm.
the other
Your Honor, I object.
Get to object by saying something like, nah, or I don't know about all that.
I'm gonna gank that proposal right off the table because I don't think it's realistic.
I might be doing I don't know about all that, but we'll all find our things. We'll settle into it. We'll make it a bit. I mean, we haven't started this yet, and we're already like 14 minutes into this segment, just hyping it up. We'll begin with the Eastern Conference, and I guess we'll start in the Atlantic with the Maple Leafs. I do have a pretty boring one and a pretty plausible one. Kyle Palmieri.
That is pretty boring.
Guy who can score some goals, give you some depth in the last year of his deal. Someone who I think probably will be traded. So that's a dream one, but I don't know. It should be the Maple Leafs' dream to do a kind of normal standard thing.
I have Cody Ceci.
Go on.
I have Cody Ceci because he's been in Toronto. Toronto, I think, has some mixed feelings on Cody Ceci, but
a mix of correct and stupid.
Yes, and I just would like to see Cody Ceci freed from San Jose. I know that you have a dissenting opinion on that, but Cody Ceci in the playoffs on the Maple Leafs. Yes.
Who else?
Come on.
Oh my God, Cody Ceci. Yeah. Okay, I'm off the thing. Sean had gotten me on sign Cody Ceci, keep him there because Cody Ceci will be back in the playoffs because the Sharks are going to turn this thing around lickety-split, but probably not this year. Oh, I want to see Cody Ceci back in the playoffs. Of course. Brilliant. Great job.
Also, partially because I don't want the Maple Leafs to get anybody really good.
Yeah, that's a little sneaky thing.
Sorry.
Okay, Panthers, this is where we get fun. Florida Panthers, there is, I think, a what?
Just out of nowhere, Boom Gang Grinch as your objection. All right, that'll be mine.
Boom Gang, whole lot of gang shit.
Whole lot of gang
No
shit.
one's gonna know what that. I can't believe Sean knows what that is.
Oh, yeah, of course. That was hot in the streets for a while.
Boom Gang.
Grinch.
There was a young man who would just go into stores, I believe, and steal from them and yell,
Boom Gang.
Boom Gang. He'd be like, hi, this book, what's the Boom Gang? And run out with the book. And there are rules. You don't chase after people who are stealing. So I don't know why I needed to run, but that's what that was. Okay, Florida Panthers. I think there's a misconception that tough teams, sandpapery teams, can't have players who are quote unquote soft. If they bring skill and they bring finesse, maybe if they bring a little bit of power, it's worth it. I'm giving Owen Power to the Florida Panthers. Who knows how long Aaron Ekblad is going to be there? That is your future number 2 defenseman forever. Owen Power to the Florida Panthers.
That's a interesting one. It's not
plausible.
It's
30%.
I mean, he's on the trade block presumably. So yeah,
Is he on the trade block?
I don't.
People
should say that everybody's on the trade block at this point.
I just feel like people have just spoken that into existence because they get tired of some of his performance. But I do love the idea of him on a team where he could just be a little bit of an asshole. If he sucks playing defensively, who gives a shit? He's on the Florida Panthers.
And the Panthers have been known to take chances on those guys, even though obviously, an Oliver Ekman-Larsson is not the same kind of taking a chance on a offensive-minded defenseman, but they've proven that model to be successful, and I would be intrigued by it. I don't know if I would love it. Who
do they have? What D-man's on their power play? Forsling, I would assume.
Florida, let's see.
No, that's a good question.
Because Owen Power as a power play quarterback seems fun.
I am excited to reveal my Florida Panthers dream scenario trade acquisition.
Aaron Ekblad quarterbacks their power play.
So yeah, they could use Owen Power.
Okay, yeah.
Power play.
Who do you have for Panthers? Anybody?
Yes, I do. The Panthers are an asshole team. They play with a bit of an edge. They're accused of being dirty all the time. I say, why don't you lean into it and why don't you go acquire Brad Marchand?
I was just, as soon as you started that sentence, I was like, Brad Marchand to the fucking Florida
There is
Panthers.
recorded evidence on this show of me saying, I know it would never happen. Brad Marchand would be the perfect acquisition for the Panthers. I would love him on that team. Never going to happen, though. I think
30%?
I'm going to fudge the numbers and say that that's 31%, even if I don't think it is.
I obviously don't want to see it happen. I'm a Bruins fan. If there's any team that I don't want to see him go to, it is the Florida Panthers. But I'll remove myself from this situation from a fit standpoint and from a narrative standpoint. Boy, that would be juicy.
He'd be perfect. Bang on. Senators, I'm giving him Risto. That's my dream. It can be dream for us too.
I mean,
not the team.
I think that's dream for Senators fans because you just take any right D that's not Travis Hamonic.
Perfect. Do you have anything exciting on Senators?
I do not. Somehow I missed that one.
That's fine. Let's move to the Capitals. Obviously, Sidney Crosby. Please. Oh, please. Sidney Crosby. I mean, center is a position of need. So why not get one who took $8.7 million so he could fit into the Capitals cap?
I mean, does that hit the 30% threshold?
I'm going to fudge the numbers and say yeah.
I'm going to Boonk Gang Grinch the hell out of that because there's no chance that the Penguins would ever trade Sidney Crosby to the Washington Capitals.
But I've now introduced I did this for you with Brad Marchand. You're also allowed to fudge the numbers, which is, I don't think that's going to happen, but I want it to. So I'm going to fudge the numbers and say that's a 31% chance.
You can't fudge your own numbers.
I know. I was hoping that you would fudge the numbers.
No, absolutely not.
You don't want Sid to the Capitals?
I don't, because I have Sid on a different list here.
We'll when we get to the Western Conference, he's obviously
there's like 5 teams that I want to see Sidney Crosby on, and the Capitals are definitely on that list. But it just seems like the least likely by far of the teams that he could be traded to.
One team in the NHL, I guess there is a tie of the 2 teams that will not get Sidney Crosby if he ever becomes available. It is the Philadelphia Flyers and it is the Washington Capitals.
Yeah. Very fair. I would have liked you to fudge the numbers. Carolina Hurricanes.
Wait.
Oh, do you have one?
Yeah. Well, no, but it's Ryan Leonard. That's the only guy that I want on the Capitals. The Capitals are almost perfect. Give him Ryan Leonard.
So you're doing their best acquisition is one of their own guys.
That's
thing.
right. Yeah.
that happens in dream scenarios. Carolina Hurricanes. How about old friend Morgan Geekie?
Oh.
Yeah?
Okay. I'd love for the Bruins to keep Morgan Geekie, but yeah, that Morgan Geekie on the Hurricanes
checks a box.
Checks a lot of fits, a lot of boxes. Big fan of that. Carolina Hurricanes for me, and I've said this 1,000 times on the show, John Gibson.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Why
I can't do it. I don't know about all that.
Why not?
You know why not?
I think you need to move.
You're keeping Pyotr Kochetkov.
Oh, so you're moving out.
You're moving out Freddie Anderson. I have a specific deal here.
Hit me.
John Gibson to the Carolina Hurricanes for Freddie Anderson and Jordan Martinook and a draft pick, because that makes the money work. Anaheim gets Gibson off their books. Freddie Anderson's on an expiring deal. You free up that money. You get a draft pick. And you free up Martinook's money. He's paid until 2027. You free up $3 million, and that gives you more money to sign Rantanen.
I like a Gibson-Kochetkov combo. That's a nice. That's a fun pairing. You want to talk about checking boxes? Those two take care of you. I like that a lot. Hurricanes, we cooked a little bit. Devils, this one is...
I'm a huge fan of my pick here. Can I go first?
Yes, only because... I'm going to let you go first if you consider fudging the numbers for mine. Go ahead.
All right. I'll make that trade. Another trade that I'll make to the Devils, Pavel Zacha. Give him Pavel Zacha.
Oh, my God.
That'd be so
Where's my guy,
funny.
Pasha?
It would be so funny. And, I honestly think Pavel Zacha would be a good fit, minus them being the Devils.
What is more realistic, that one or my submission of Artemi Panarin?
Oh my God.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
He's got 1 year beyond this one. If the Rangers, that's not realistic.
I thought you were gonna throw out the obvious Hughes trade just to get ahead of it and get the brothers together.
JT Miller and Quinn Hughes are too obvious to suggest here. I don't think Quinn Hughes would also hit the 30% threshold. But maybe.
I would say it would, only because it seems like they're not that far from kind of just blowing the whole thing up. And so
it would take several steps before then. And Quinn Hughes would be traded in the offseason, if anything.
This is the best.
I hope it doesn't happen. And that's a great suggestion. Quinn Hughes to therapy. That's the only trade that he needs.
Did you see him in his interview with the rinkside reporter? They came to them and he's just looking into the camera like this, just dead on, kill me.
For some reason, I feel
looks like all the time.
Despite his appearance, I guess I feel like Quinn Hughes is a well-adjusted guy.
Yeah,
I feel like he's got it together.
I think that from what I've heard, he's more mature than way more mature than his age, which is probably his problem. The older you get, the worse life becomes.
I was watching a Canucks game with a relatively new hockey fan, and when Quinn Hughes scored, they said, "Hughes, is that the Bunty one, or the Hunty one, or the gay rights one?" And I was like,
"Por qué no los dos?"
That's the gay rights one.
But I think you could check both of those boxes.
Yeah.
There's a Hunty
endearing
disposition.
Yes.
Just everything endearing with Quinn Hughes. I love that player. Very hot take there. This is the most fun thing in the world, and we have to do it every show. Boston Bruins. Pete, I will defer to you. I got a realistic one, but go ahead.
I didn't think the Bruins hit the threshold. Are they below the 521?
You want them to acquire a rocket ship to go to Mars?
I would like to acquire them. Oh, I guess I was looking at regulation points percentage, so that threw me off. How about a Brock Besser?
Brock Besser is a good one.
Yeah.
I have Chris Kreider.
Okay.
What was the threshold again?
520.
Oh, 520. Okay, I thought you said 550.
Yeah, so I was looking at regulation points percentage, so that may have I fudged my own numbers.
I don't have a good one for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'd like them to get a defenseman, but I don't have a particularly fun one. Do you have one?
I do not. No. The list of fun available defensemen is pretty short this year.
Yeah, I agree.
You could have sent Owen Power there.
I could just give them a different one. I thought about Bo for the Lightning, but he doesn't get to be a number one defenseman there. Bo, it's not happening, brother. Okay? Just cool it.
I think it can happen in the right situation.
How about, I don't know, let's give them Nikita Zadorov?
Okay, why not?
Okay, didn't come up with a fun one for the Lightning, but there are some fun ones for the Columbus Blue Jackets, at least on my end. Do you have one?
I do not, because they also didn't hit the thresholds that I was looking at.
Okay. Well, you should have fudged the numbers.
I
Then you
should've.
could include anyone. How about Mikael Granlund? Gives him a center to hold down the fort while Monahan is out.
Yeah, but we're talking about dream trade scenarios here. That is not a dream of mine.
Some of us have dreams where they're like, I was just fishing. That's all. I went fishing.
How about Elias
Like
Lindholm?
Lauko?
Elias Lindholm? First year of Bruins just getting all those deals off their books.
I mean, while
Bruins
we're
need to
talking
blow
about
it
it,
up.
if we're trading Zadorov, why not trade Lindholm?
They're just, what would it be, 2014 Red Sox?
What?
Where they're just like, we're giving away all of our players.
Oh, yeah.
We're just, you don't have to give us anything. They're just all gone.
So at this point, you've traded Geeky, Zaka, Marchand. Who else am I forgetting here?
Listen,
Zaka?
Zadorov.
if you haven't gotten
Zaka?
the
Zaka.
vibe yet, the
Blow it
dream
up.
scenario is that
Blow
the
it up.
Bruins don't exist this season.
Blow it up.
Pete is just trying to just peel them away bit by bit. How about for the Detroit Red Wings? Someone actually threw this in the chat during the show, and I was like, this is coming up later.
Elias Pettersson?
Elias Pettersson.
Yeah, that's a
Easy
fun one.
peasy.
That would be awesome.
Offense.
Makes way more sense than the Sabres. I'll say that.
Yes.
And you got the Raymond Pettersson connection.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun. Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about making the Canadiens a little older?
Yes.
You can only get older, I guess, if you're acquiring people. So why not Yanni Gord?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Experience, pedigree, still got it. Old.
How about
Long in the tooth?
Sidney Crosby?
You have
He's
Crosby.
also old. That'd be fun.
I mean, Sid to the fucking Canadians would rock.
It
That
would
would be
rock.
so much fun.
It would rock.
I don't have anybody for the New York Rangers. Do you? I don't know if I want to wish that on anybody.
Jacob Trouba of the New York Rangers.
Oh, awesome. I'll put numbers for that.
We all silly like the mayor.